Brooks.
Here.
Councilwoman McKenzie.
Here.
Councilman Estes.
Here.
Councilman Cassada.
Here.
Councilman May.
Here.
Councilman Hughes.
Here.
Councilman Webb.
Here.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Ladies and gentlemen, you hear a different voice here at the dais. It is Mayor of the Day, Miss Carrie Robertson, and we thank her for her civic contributions and her help to many organizations in Cleveland, Tennessee, most notably CASA, the Court-Appointed Special Advocates, and in her abilities there, she is serving today as Mayor of the Day, and I'm always happy to have help. It takes a village to run a village. I would like to begin today, as we normally do, with our prayer and pledge, but you will notice the chair that has been placed with a wreath to honor a dear friend and someone whose huge contributions, not only to the city of Cleveland and to many of us here on this dais, but to our police department, our local sheriff's department, multiple commissions and boards that he served on, and that is Director Larry Wallace, who passed away. I've just received word from Chief Gibson that his services will be Thursday, 11 to 1:30, visitation and services at 2 at First Baptist of Athens. And I have asked the staff if they would please lower the flags here at City Hall to have staff in honor and remembrance of him. And if you don't mind, before we say the prayer and the pledge, if we could stand for a moment of silence for Director Wallace. Thank you. And let's pledge, salute, and pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Vice Mayor Johnson, if you could give our invocation for us today.
Father, we thank you once again for the opportunity to meet together and to pray together as we remember Larry Wallace and family. There have been so many, but we know that you know all about the situation and you know what's best for our community, what's best for all of us. And we just pray, Lord, that you continue to give us the wisdom, the insight, and the knowledge to do what's best for the city of Cleveland as we make our decisions concerning our agenda. And we thank you for this, another day and another opportunity. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Mayor, if you'll read that next red little section right there.
Next item on the agenda is to waive the reading of the minutes from the regular session July 11th, 2022.
Mr. Mayor, Madam Mayor, I move this City Council of the City of Cleveland waive the reading of the minutes of the regular session of City Council on July 11th, 22, and approve them as written.
Second.
You say.
We have a motion and a second. If there are no comments, clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Aye.
Councilman May.
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie. Councilman Estes. Councilman Cassada.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman Webb.
Aye.
The motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. The next item on the agenda for today at 3 o'clock is special presentations and public comments. We don't have any scheduled special presentations. I would, however, like to again recognize Director of Parks and Recreation, the award-winning Patty Pettit. We honored her department at the 1 o'clock session with a proclamation from this past July as Parks and Recreation Month. Councilman Hughes, I'm sorry you were not here to see that auspicious awarding of a proclamation. And
I'm sorry I missed that. Congratulations, Patty.
And thank you to your staff, Patty, and the hard work that they do. This is the time for for public comments. Is there anyone here who wishes to address the council on any matter? I see no hands at this time, so it takes us immediately to item number 6 on the agenda, which is a hearing, petition, and communication public hearing Today's public hearing is being held to hear public comments concerning the approval of a plan of service for about 23.40 acres, as well as portions of Freewell Road, New Murraytown Road, and Hensley Road, right-of-ways from the unincorporated county for property located on New Murraytown Road and Freewell Road. This is in your packet. It was approved by the Planning Commission 5-0, with 3 being absent and 1 recusing from the vote. I now declare the public hearing to be open. Would anyone like to speak in favor of this plan of service, or Mr. Varnell, do you have comments? My apologies for not recognizing you first. Even with 2 of us, I still mess up.
Well, it's okay. I mess up every day. It's what we are. So what we're doing here today, this is a public hearing. We're going to do another official public hearing in 2 weeks. We're doubling it up just to get this particular development moving through the process. This is the property that's has double frontage on Freewell Road and New Murraytown Road, and about 124 total units being built out there. It is a PUD zoning, so you're going to have the public hearing today on the plan of service that is agreed upon between the city and the county and how we're going to serve it, the annexation of the property, and the zoning. So if staff can provide any information for you all, I'm happy to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Varnell. All right, I have already asked, but I will ask again. Would anyone like to speak in favor of this plan of service? Seeing none and hearing none, would anyone like to speak in opposition to this plan of service? And likewise, I see none and hear none, so I now declare this public hearing to be closed. It takes us to the next item on the agenda, which is item B, public hearing to hear comments concerning a request by the property owner to annex 23.40 acres, as well as portions of Freewell Road, New Murraytown Road, and Hensley Road right-of-ways from the unincorporated county for property located on the New Murraytown Road and Freewell Road. Again, this was approved by the Planning Commission 5-0, 3 absent and 1 being recused. Now declare this public hearing to be open. Mr. Varnell, do you have any opening comments similar?
I'll just say that we're happy to have worked out the process of annexation with Bradley County.
I concur. Would anyone like to speak in favor of this annexation request that is before the council? Seeing none and hearing none, would anyone like to speak in opposition to this annexation request? And likewise, hearing none, I will declare this public hearing to be closed. Item C on the agenda, today's public hearing to hear public comments concerning a request by the property owner to rezone 23.4 acres, as well as portions of Freewell Road, New Murraytown Road, and Hensley Road right-of-ways from the unincorporated county to PUD number 34. This is property located on New Murraytown Road and Freewell Road. Again, approved by the Planning Commission 5-0. We will declare this public hearing to be open. Mr. Varnell, this is the rezoning of the annexation of the explanation that we've already heard.
Yes, sir, that's correct. And like I mentioned before, it includes a total of 124 homes. They kind of break up half and half of single-family detached and townhomes. There will be 2 entrances to the neighborhood, but it is, in a sense, 2 distinct neighborhoods, so they are not connected together because of the various creeks and things like that. It's the Planning Commission approved, sidewalks are included, and many of the other components that we look to in our PUDs. If there's any specific questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Ms. Varnell. Madam Mayor?
Would anyone like to speak in favor of the zoning request? Hear none. Would anyone like to speak in opposition to the zoning request? Okay, I declare the public hearing to be closed.
It's fantastic. Takes us to item number 7 on the agenda, which is the consent agenda has been provided to you all in the packets and discussed by the city manager at our 1 o'clock work session. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
That is a proper motion by Councilman Hughes. I heard the second by Councilman Cassada. Mr. Fivas?
One
Comment.
item on item J, we have a substitute item that changes the billing from monthly to quarterly for the SROs.
And that is the MOU changed or revised MOU that you distributed separately?
That's right.
Great,
So that's what you're voting for, the quarterly bill.
gotcha. All right, we have a proper motion by Councilman Hughes, properly seconded by Councilman Cassada. Any additional discussion on the consent agenda? Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Councilman Cassidy,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie,
Aye.
Councilman Estes, Councilman May,
Aye.
Councilman Webb.
Aye.
Carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Takes us to item number 8 on the agenda, which is unfinished business, of which there is none today for our 3 o'clock meeting, which takes us to item number 9, which is reports from council members. Madam Mayor, I will allow you to, we will begin with,
Vice Mayor Johnson?
Yes, I wanted to, I've got a street light request, and this one is on 15th Street. Right past the stop sign where they're on Mayfield School, the university. The first house up 15th Street on the right is Miss Octavia Blair, and the street light is burnt out. It's just the one on 15th Street. She'd like to get it replaced. Let's see, was it anything else? I
Vice
think
Mayor,
that's
is that Barnes Street that crosses, comes in
No,
there?
it's, Billy Graham
people,
Avenue,
Billy-
where it ends.
Where it ends.
Carolina.
Is that Billy Graham Avenue?
Well, Billy Graham or 15th, either one. I'm trying to think where Miss Blair.
When you going toward Brown's Foundry?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And you run out of Billy Graham, it turns you back into 15th Street.
That's People Street comes there
It's
behind.
People Street that
People Street
turns-
behind Mayfield,
Yeah.
and then the next one is
No,
Barnes.
yeah. When it goes straight
Carolina.
toward Brown's Foundry, what's the
It's
name?
It's Barnes.
That's
Okay.
Barnes.
I'll check on
Yeah,
that
She
too.
lives right on the other side of Nicholas Williams' apartment complex.
That's Barnes. Yeah, okay, so I know where it is
Or
now.
the dumpster,
All right.
yeah.
I'm sorry to be nosy.
Yeah, well, the lights burn out.
She
They
didn't
just
call
need to
me.
get
I'm-
the light
yeah, okay.
replaced.
She wants to shut it down, Bill.
Yeah, she wants something, yeah, that's nice.
oh,
That's nice.
anything further, Vice Mayor?
Maybe saw her
Oh, no,
at church.
that's it.
You ever been there?
Thank you. Continue.
Councilwoman McKenzie?
Yes, thank you. I had a call right before I came to the meeting today from a resident at 200 Nancy Drive and Blue Springs Road. She said that a car actually ran off that ditch, came through her yard, between her house and the other house, and went on back out the road. And they lived there about a year. She said she did understand that previous owners had actually had a problem with cars coming off there and hitting the house, actually hitting the house. And her request was, could there be guardrails put there, I guess on the Blue Springs Road to keep, from cars coming off of there and coming in. And I believe she talked with Tommy about the ditch where this car went into to clean it out or something. Do you know what I'm referring to? She said she called Public Works.
One of them down there, but even behind the houses, which is private property, we could get there. I don't know about the ditch she's talking about, the one that rings the bell to me, but I'll check into it.
Okay. But she wanted to know if there could be someone come out and view it and see if it's possible to have guardrails or something done to keep cars from, since she has a 5-year-old and plays in the yard. And she said her child had been out there, could have got hit, so she wanted that looked into.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Anything further? Thank you, madam.
Councilman Estes?
Thank you. Sharon, I got a lot of positive comments about the concerts this past June. So just passing that on, it was a real hit. People told me they'd love to see it again. I said I'd let you know. Just some of my colleagues, Ken, I know you covered for me with something in Boca last week while I was out of town. Also, some of you guys had some things to do with the back to school bash in College Hill. I really appreciate that. It was a real big hit last week. I was out of town. Chief Gibson, I saw lots of officers out around schools today. Really appreciate that. As things are kind of getting into the swing and traffic patterns changed this morning. So just thanks for that, and to my colleagues and I guess to the city. You got 3,500 league kids, or really about over 4,000 showing up in the next 2 weeks. So traffic patterns are going to change. And, just a heads up on that. One other thing on Lee, Lee's now in Division II, and of all the Division II teams, athletic-wise, Lee came in 11th place in the Directors' Cup. That's of all sports, they add up points when we're in nationally. We did this without certain teams. We don't have a football team. Certain areas we don't get any points, yet we came in 11th in the country. We also had our very first national championship with the men's golf team. They went up in just outside Detroit at the TPC, the national championship. And I publicly want to thank the members of the Cleveland Country Club and the Country Club itself for working with Lee and having some joint projects there at the club itself, and just working with those guys, came from the city and the way they represented Lee in Cleveland. I'd like to, maybe next month invite them here at 1 o'clock and congratulate them,
Absolutely.
the whole team. There are a couple of students, one from Walker Valley and one from Cleveland, former local players on the team. I think there's 2 that I know of that are local golfers. I'd love to invite them here and recognize them at a 1 o'clock meeting.
You have one out of the country, don't you, Bill?
Yeah, Ollie is he's from the Midlands of England.
Mhm.
So he also played in the British Amateur, qualified for the British Amateur. So
Right.
it's a real accomplishment, and it's just continues some of the excellence that Lee in so many areas. And I followed some of the Twitter and some of the stuff online, social media, and a lot of people. I appreciate the members of the Cleveland Country Club being a part of it. It's just a lot of people got behind them, and I think we ought to, as a city, recognize them. So, Mayor, if you'd help me in that.
Certainly.
We could sort that out next month once school starts up.
And you said 1 o'clock?
At 1 o'clock. If we want to do it 3 o'clock, we can do it there. We'll get on their schedule and do that on Monday. Let me check my notes. Mayor Robertson. That's all publicly. Thank you. And hey, let me say one more thing. Just personally, I'm going to take some personal notes here. Larry Wallace was very kind to me. He, behind the scenes, I know you mentioned the people there that he helped, but also I was thinking even about the fire department negotiating the bridge and some of those different levels. He did very quietly. He did it with incredible concern for the people who work for the city. We could never repay him how much money he saved us and how much trouble he kept us out of, and we implemented all of his suggestions, and he was very gracious to all of us. He had an incredible set of people skills. I appreciate this today, but some personal privilege. On a personal level, he helped me greatly. That's all.
Well said.
Councilman Cassidy?
Yes, Mayor, I've got a couple things. I want to piggyback off of what Dr. Hess just said about the concerts, summer concerts. I participated, went to those this spring, and it was a great thing. I would like to see, I know it goes into football season, but in September, if the city could help out, do some, and maybe work together, do a trial maybe in September, do a couple of weeks or 3 weeks or so, when the weather breaks on that part. It's so much of a great event. There's so many people come out. I see so many of the friends I don't see, and it's a great time, and it's great support for downtown, for businesses too, and restaurants and things. So I appreciate Sharon Hawley, what you do on that part. Also, I'd like to, again, congratulate Mayor Brooks and Councilman McKenzie and Dr. Estes and Mr. Webb on their re-election. There's some good things going on in council. It shows that everybody got back on council. So I look forward to the next couple of years working and moving the city forward like we have. Last but not least, Cleveland Middle School. I came through there today about 7:30. Jonathan, I just want to ask, the 2 turn lanes going into Cleveland, coming into town, is that going to be permanent, or is that the temporary thing right now? Because I'm just telling you, it worked very, very well, because it went around. I mean, the traffic was full.
Temporary, but maybe we can make it
I don't know, but it actually worked great, and I want to thank
It is
TDOT
awesome.
for putting that secondary road in the
Awesome.
summertime to get in there.
Yeah.
And it, I think it's really gonna work out for the traffic pattern down through there, when it gets completed. I know they're ahead of project right now, ahead of, the project right now is way ahead. Hope it continues to do that, and, I just wanna thank TDOT for all what they've done to get that road ready for the Cleveland Middle School before they started. I mean, it could have been chaos. Also, I want to make a comment. If you've been by there when they put the storm waters there, out on the side where, I mean, those things are like 6 feet up in the air. That road's really going to raise high. I mean, you're going to almost see the top of the roofs of the houses, I mean, as you drive through there. So I guess my question with that is, like going into Greenwood, after where that little neighborhood right there, is it gonna be a pretty good drop off going down that way? Were they great? I mean, I just can't vision how that road's
It'll
gonna
be a
raise that
slope, but
much.
It'll taper down, it goes way out into the,
Yeah,
I guess it's green.
I mean, they just set storm waters. I saw them out there, and I was like the grates and stuff. I mean, they're high. I mean, it's unbelievable. If you drive through there, did you see them, Ken? I just couldn't believe how high they were. But again, I want to thank TDOT for getting everything done at the middle school before school starts and making the traffic flow a little bit better on that part. So, Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman May.
Yeah. Joe, I hate to bring it up, we've talked about so much, and we've got so many projects going, but we're still intending to renovate the city park, right?
Johnson.
Johnson Park,
Yeah, that was on our list.
was it? I guess that went by me. We didn't talk about it much.
You know, we've been hoping that, you know, we have a design, our hope is to be able to get done with Mosby, and then be able to focus on that, and we have a little work at Civitan, but it's pretty high on our list of priorities to get in there. That one, the construction will probably not be our public works, as it will probably get that out.
Okay, so you think it'll be before winter, or maybe by
It
spring?
would probably be during winter with the hope of opening it up for May.
Spring. That's all I've got.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councilman Hughes.
Yes, ma'am. First of all, I wanted to say concerning Larry Wallace, my mind goes back to a time when we had Chief Gibson. You correct me if I'm wrong, we had 3 chiefs in a period of about 3 days. Am I correct?
I'll phase that out. I think you're correct.
And Larry helped us out of that mess. He did a lot of work, chief for the fire department. And as our colleague said, he did a lot of things that were unnoticed. Only a few of us knew what he was doing, and he helped us immensely. He was so knowledgeable in the police department that we were able to get, what is the rating that we get? What is the name of the rating on the police
CALEA.
department?
Through Kalia.
CALEA, Larry had been through many times. He'd been a sheriff, been director of the highway patrol, and he helped us get a very good rating through CALEA. So we will miss him. I would tell you that since he departed from the city, that on a number of occasions, we would have a group get together and have lunch with Larry. About once every 3 months, gentlemen with several who are sitting here at the present time would get together and have lunch. And most of the talking was done by Larry Wallace, we wanted to listen to him. Sometimes we'd hear some of the same stories. And also Mayor Rowland. And it was a wonderful time for us to participate and reflect on some great, great memories that we had through these two gentlemen. I wanted to mention, Patty, that I received a call wondering about more pickleball courts. You know, they tell me that when they have a tournament, they have people that can't participate because there's not enough courts. Is that right? And it also stated that we're getting a lot of people using our courts from out of town. Right? Yeah. So I don't know about that, but I wanted to share that. I promised them I would. And I too want to say congratulations to Mayor Brooks. And also, Marcia, you ran a good race. Congratulations. Dr. Bill, congratulations to you and the man to my left. You know, it's pretty good when most of you don't have competition. You're either too tough or I won't say the opposite. But congratulations, I'm glad you're back. And Marcia, although you were worried, you did a very good job in your campaign. Mayor Carrie Robertson, I have just finished.
Thank you.
Back to you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Webb.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I also would like to say something about Larry Wallace. I was not on the council at the time that Larry was doing so much work in Cleveland, but I am aware of the great work that he did do. But I've also had the honor of serving on the Board of Trustees of Tennessee Wesleyan with Larry Wallace. When I left Wesleyan in 1976 as a graduate, the school was having a very difficult time. And at some point in time after that, Larry became involved. Tennessee Wesleyan is doing well now. The campus looks great. There are new programs being offered. When Hiawassee College closed, the dental hygiene program was moved to Tennessee Wesleyan. That's only one of 3 programs like that, I believe, in the state of Tennessee. And Larry was instrumental in making that happen. And he was just a friend also, and I just want to say that. I too would like to offer my congratulations to Marcia, Bill, and the mayor. It's an honor to be able to serve another 4 years with this group, and I look forward. I think as good as we have it in Cleveland, I think our better days, our best days are still ahead of us, and I attribute a lot of that to this council and what they're doing. The last thing I have is something I think would be kind of fun, and I want to make an announcement today on behalf of City Fields. If on August the 20th at about 9 o'clock you find yourself with nothing else to do, City Fields and Blythe Oldfield Community Association are sponsoring some lawnmower races. There will be 3 categories: regular riding mowers, zero-turn mowers, and Marcia, if you have a souped-up mower, there will be a turn. There'll be a category for that. But it ought to be a fun morning, and I think what the important thing is that you see activities over in the Blythe Oldfield area that are taking place as a community. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that is the result that's been done in the last several years by City Fields and this council and the Lyndhurst Foundation. Councilman Estes has been involved very heavily with that. So this would be an opportunity just to get out on Saturday morning and maybe have a good time. If my plans work out, I plan on to being there with my red snapper mower. So,
Now, what time again?
at 9 o'clock.
And you're driving it?
Excuse me?
You're going to drive it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You don't have a driver?
Mm,
You don't have a driver?
No, I'm gonna drive.
And it's BYOM, bring your own mower.
Bring your own over.
Now, will that be workers' comp?
How about a pit crew? You got a pit crew?
I seriously doubt it.
You've got some races in your neighborhood, lawnmower races.
We've had a lawnmower parade in our neighborhood, not races. This is gonna be a race. Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Webb.
All right, I had a few appointments, but first I also wanted to join my colleagues in remembering, personal remembrances for Larry Wallace. I, like Councilman Webb, did not serve on this council at the time where he was so instrumental, but I was honored to be in Nashville, and there was not one time that former director of TBI, former director, commissioner of the Tennessee Highway Patrol, former sheriff, former everything, whenever Director Wallace walked in the room, governors stood up. And it was an amazing thing to watch men and women of multiple generations honoring this great, great man, great Tennessean, that we here in the city of Cleveland, the city with spirit, just received by gratitude and beneficiary of this decades of wisdom and leadership. And I don't quite know if we will ever know what an impact he had, not just here in the city of Cleveland, but across our entire state. And so to come home as a kid from Cleveland and serve now as mayor of Cleveland, and to have that friendship of this man, and he loved Cleveland, Tennessee. All those lunches that Mr. Hughes, Councilman Hughes, talked about were filled with stories, both from his past, but from his great love of this town. And so I'm thankful that my colleagues join me in remembering this great man. I do have some official tree board appointments. There are 4 members of the tree board whose 2-year terms expire this month, and we are reappointing them to an additional 2-year term on the Shade Tree Board. That is Mr. Matt Coleman, Commissioner Mylan Blake, Mr. Dennis Epperson, and Mr. Tim Henderson. Those will be reappointed for 2-year terms until August of 2024. And again, thank you for the kind words from my colleagues, and congratulations to my colleagues who were reelected, Councilman McKenzie, Councilman Estes, Councilman Webb. I was asked on the night of the election about Cleveland and how we are so successful, and I was honored to have the opportunity to say that the real congratulations and the real yeoman's tasks are done by this city council. And putting our financial house in order, refinancing our debt, reorganizing our debt, and putting us in the position to have 6 slides and pages of projects that are underway. It's this council that makes this city so great, and I'm incredibly honored to have another chance to serve with you all. So thank you for allowing me to say those few words. It takes us to item number 10 on the agenda, which is the section of new business and ordinances. The first ordinance, 10A, Resolution 2022-66, authorizes the mayor to sign an agreement with TDOT related to the intersection improvements at 25th Onokoee. This was discussed by City Manager Fivas, and it's in your packet on pages 86 through 111. This action would require a motion from the council.
So moved.
I move a second, but I'd like to add a friendly thing that the mayor not sign this until after meeting with our local delegation.
All right, that is a proper motion and properly seconded. The maker of the motion, you're
Yes.
okay with that?
Correct.
All right, any other comments, questions, or concerns? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman May?
Aye.
Councilman Estes?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson?
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie? Councilman Cassada?
Aye.
Councilman Hughes?
Aye.
Councilman Webb?
Aye.
Carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Item B, Resolution 2022-68. It's It's the approval of a plan of service for 23.40 acres, as well as portions of Freewell Road, New Murraytown Road, and Hensley Road, the right-of-ways from the unincorporated county for property located on New Murraytown Road and Freewell Road. Again, this was approved by the Planning Commission 5-0, and this does require a motion for the plan of service.
So moved.
Second.
That is a proper motion by Vice Mayor Avery Johnson, properly seconded by Ken Webb. Any questions, comments, concerns from the council? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilman Webb,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie,
Aye.
Councilman Estes,
Aye.
Councilman Cassidy,
Aye.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
That carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Takes us to item C, Resolution 2022-69, annexation of 23.40 acres as well as portions of Freewell Road, New Murraytown Road, and Hensley Road right-of-ways from the unincorporated county for property located on New Murraytown and Freewell Road. This again was approved by the Planning Commission 5-0, and this annexation does require a motion from the council.
So moved.
It's a proper motion by Councilman Hughes. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded by Councilman May. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman May.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie,
Aye.
Councilman Estes,
Aye.
Councilman Cassidy,
Aye.
Councilman Webb.
Aye.
That carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Takes us to item D, zoning ordinance 2022-33, zoning of 23.40 acres as well as portions of Freewell Road, New Murraytown Road, and Hensley Road, right-of-ways from the unincorporated county to PUD 34. Again, approved by the Planning Commission 5-0, and does require a motion for this rezoning.
So moved.
It's a proper motion by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly seconded by Councilman Hughes.
Mayor.
Certainly.
Comment, question.
Councilman Estes, you're recognized.
To my colleagues, so we got sidewalks in this. It seems to be the trend with all the new PUDs. It seems, I think from the planning commission, it's kind of getting out to those that come, city staff. It's kind of become expected. I really appreciate that. And while it doesn't say this, I think I'm interpreting this correct, Mr. Barnell, that the 25 feet of right-of-way from the center line is for stacking lanes coming in and out from the two directions.
It's to ensure to get the right-of-way width wherever it's impacted by the subdivision is a minimum of 50 feet wide so that we have room to do this.
That's important with these new kind of PUDs for ingress and egress for safety, especially on narrow roads, like one of these is pretty narrow. I went and looked at it, so. I'm just saying, the PUDs that are coming, as you remember the planning commission, what's coming before you, us, is getting better and better. So I appreciate staff on this, and that's all, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments, questions, or concerns? If not, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilman Hughes,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie,
Aye.
Councilman Estes,
Aye.
Councilman Cassidy,
Aye.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Councilman Webb.
Aye.
It carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. It takes us to item E, which is Resolution 2022-72, authorizing the mayor to sign an interlocal agreement with Bradley County in connection with the annexation of the parcel of property located on New Murraytown Road. It's in
So
your
moved.
Second.
proper motion by Councilman May, properly seconded by Councilman Webb. Are there any additional questions, comments, or concerns? If not, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Councilman Webb,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie,
Aye.
Councilman Estes,
Aye.
Councilman Cassidy,
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
It carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Item F, a motion authorizing Cleveland Utilities to begin the bidding process for traffic signal equipment for the Inman Street Road Diet Signalization Project. This is in your packets on pages 163 through 174, and it was discussed at length by City Manager Fivas. This does require a motion from the council.
So moved.
Second.
There's a proper motion by Councilman Webb, properly seconded by Councilman Estes. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Webb,
Aye.
Councilman Estes,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie,
Aye.
Councilman Cassidy,
Aye.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Opposed, 7-0.
Thanks, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. And item G is discussion to give notice to the operator of the business at 70 Inman Street that the City of Cleveland is needing the business to vacate the building by October 1 of 2022. This is a request from Councilman Cassada. City Manager Fivas, do you have any comments before Councilman Cassada? Councilman, you're recognized.
No, I spoke to Joe on this, and the thing is try to get a clean slate for the summit on this park and move forward. So if something happens with the summit, we won't have to hold the process up any further in that park. But give an extension out. Mr. Kimball, we spoke to a little bit about it, and if a letter can be sent or something or with that to give it 30 days notice in September.
Mr. Fowles indicates it's in a month-to-month lease, so if you tell them you would like to vacate by October 1st, you're actually giving them more notice.
Okay, I'd like to do that, just so we have a clean slate.
I
So we
would say
won't-
September 30 is the right day.
What's that?
September 30 is the right day. It would be the end of.
Okay, can I change that to September 30th then?
Certainly. So you were asking, or actually now stating in the form of a motion, that the City Council is requesting for the business at 70 Inman Street to vacate the building now by date of September 30.
Yes, sir.
And
we'll
that
send
is-
a letter to them on that part.
That is a proper motion by Councilman Cassada. Is there a second?
Second.
That is properly seconded by Councilman Webb. Please note that date change has been changed to September 30.
Question there.
Yes, sir.
Is the, whoever is at the business now, do they pay monthly rent?
Yeah, we can first.
And we can, only 30 days to ask them to leave? Okay. That's all.
All right. Any additional comments, questions, or concerns? That's a proper motion by Councilman Cassada. It's been properly seconded by Councilman Webb. No other comments, questions, or concerns? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Cassada,
Aye.
Councilman Webb,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Aye.
Councilwoman Swenson, Councilman Estes,
No.
Councilman May,
Aye.
Councilman Key.
Aye.
That carries 6-1.
6-1, that motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Madam Mayor?
Lastly, we have announcements. The next city council meeting will be held on Monday, August 22nd, 2022. There being no further business, I declare